You know, people say to me, Joe Bob, when are they going to put out the incredibly strange creatures who stopped living and became mixed up zombies on DVD? Actually, no one has ever said that to me because nobody can remember the whole name of the movie because it is the movie with the longest title in cinematic history. But I'm here to tell you that the time is now. We've got Ray Dennis Steckler's masterpiece, the movie he made for the largest budget he ever had in his entire career. $38,000. That's right, he sprang for the special effects and everything. To bring us the story of a lazy slacker played by Steckler himself under his screen name of Cash Flag, a lazy slacker who falls under the spell of a carnival hoochie-coochie dancer who is actually just the bait so he can be sent to a gypsy with a big wart on her cheek, not realizing at the time that this particular gypsy likes to throw acid on people's faces and turn them into slobbering zombies in the back room of her fortune-telling tent. So pretty soon, Ray Dennis Steckler is being mesmerized with the hypno wheel. They probably spent 30-40 cents on the special effects necessary to do the hypno wheel effect. And when he becomes zoned out, Madame Estrella, the gypsy fortune teller, sends him out to commit horrific murders among the really lame nightclub performers of Greater Orange County. Fortunately, before the singers and dancers die, we get treated to a series of absolutely jaw-dropping production numbers, including the big shook out of shape number that is sort of Steckler's homage to The Twist. So this may be the first and only zombie mesmerism carnival musical. At least let's hope so. I'll be with you, of course, with the scene-by-scene commentary, but before we go there, I want to just share a few of the amazing facts about this movie. Originally, the title was The Incredibly Strange Creatures, or Why I Stopped Living and Became a Mixed-Up Zombie. But this was the same year that the Stanley Kubrick movie came out called Dr. Strangelove, or Why I Stopped Worrying and Learned to Love the Bomb. So Columbia Pictures thought the titles were too similar, believe it or not, and they sued Ray Dennis Steckler's little movie for $5 million. So Ray Dennis changed the name after getting the go-ahead from Kubrick. And you'll notice there are some amazing similarities between those two movies. For example, they're both photographed on film stock. Okay, second amazing fact about Incredibly Strange, the cinematography is by Laszlo Kovacs, Vilmos Zsigmond, and Joseph Miskelly. Kovacs and Zsigmond are Hungarian photographers who would go on to win just about every award the film industry has to offer while shooting such movies as Easy Rider, Five Easy Pieces, The Long Goodbye, Close Encounters, Ghostbusters, New York, New York, Shampoo, and more recently, Laszlo Kovacs did Miss Congeniality. Miskelly, the third guy on the shoot, actually the DP, would write the textbook that all cinematographers read, a work that still stands today after 40 years. So how did Steckler get these guys? Well, it was at the beginning of their careers, and in Vilmos Zsigmond's case, he calls this movie his big break because it allowed him to get his first union card. All right, another incredibly strange fact. James Woods is somewhere in this movie as an extra. Another incredibly strange fact, when it first came out, live actors were hired to run out into the audience at every performance pretending to be zombies. And an even more incredibly strange fact, Ray Dennis Steckler, the director and star, was one of those actors. He would go to wherever the movie was being shown, and at the same moment that his character on screen started rampaging zombie-like through the carnival midway, Steckler would burst from behind the screen, start grabbing customers, and of course the theater would erupt into a riot. They kept working this game till Well, late in the 60s. Occasionally they would retitle the movie though, because everyone had seen it, so it was re-released as Diabolical Dr. Voodoo, and then again as The Teenage Psycho Meets Bloody Mary. And our final incredibly strange fact, for years many people thought this movie was a hoax, because before the age of video it wasn't readily available, and the only place people ever read about it was in Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine, so they thought some enterprising editor had made it all up, because who would name a movie The Incredibly Strange Creatures Who Stopped Living and Became Mixed Up Zombies? As we all know, Ray Dennis Steckler would. Okay, before we get started, let's take a look at those drive-in totals we have. 15 dead bodies, 4 rampaging zombies, acid to the face, drunken interpretive dancing, multiple stab wounds, 4 Las Vegas production numbers shot in a single day with no rehearsal, Drive-In Academy Award nominations for Jack Brady as Ortega, possibly the ugliest man in the history of film, Brett O'Hara, best known as being Susan Hayward's stand-in in her only speaking role as the grotesque gypsy Madame Estrella, Irina Ennio as the alluring taxi dancer Carmelita, Carolyn Brandt as the alcoholic nightclub dancer in fishnet tights, James Bowie as possibly the worst stand-up comic ever seen, Neil Stillman as the carnival barker who says 20 beautiful girls and only 10 beautiful costumes, Sharon Walsh as the impressionable young girl in tennis shoes and hip huggers who loves her boyfriend in spite of his treating her like a backhoe with legs, and of course Cash Flagg, better known as Ray Dennis Steckler, for directing, producing, starring, and saying, "Hey, let's throw this in." 4 stars. I'm Joe Bob Briggs. Check this little sucker out. And yes, this played in actual movie theaters for people who purchased actual tickets. The zombies look like showgirls, and the showgirls look like zombies. So it satisfies the first rule of drive-in movie making. Anybody can die at any moment. And yes, I think I will have a corny dog now.